Hi everyone, and welcome back for our final lesson in this beginning module of the Piano Etudes course here at Liberty Park Music. For this lesson, we're looking at a somewhat longer piece by the 19th century composer Félix Couppey, and this piece is a bit of a blend of reward and review. Our left hands are going to be hanging out, relaxing with a relatively simple repeating element, while our right hands are going to be navigating a series of key characteristic elements that we've covered so far in this course via a jaunty little melody. So, let's take a look. Okay, so obviously the big repetitive element of note here is the left hand. For this entire piece, all we're playing are these tied whole note fifths. This is quite obviously meant to evoke a drone, the likes of which you might get from bagpipes, and actually keeping that in mind while you play could be useful for achieving the right sound from this piece. Let's take a look at our initial information at the beginning of the piece. We have an interesting tempo marking of allegro or moderato, which we'll talk about more in a moment, and a key or scale signature of 1 sharp, which we know either means G major or E minor, and because this piece is clearly happy in character, we're going to go with G major. Now, we have a time signature we've never seen before. This C with the line through it that looks kind of like an old abbreviation for American cents, as in dollars and cents, is indicating what we call cut time, or in official Italian terminology, alla breve, meaning on the breve. Breve is a British or non-American term for the half note value. So what this symbol is telling us to do is to count the beat on the half note, not on the more traditional quarter note. We'll talk all about this more in detail in a moment. Now, we do have some structural repetitions to help us out, though they are a little hidden in the visual layout on the pages. Measures 1 through 4 are repeated exactly in measures 5 through 8, and almost that whole segment is repeated again starting in measure 17, only this time you'll notice with some distinct differences in dynamics. Our center section, starting in the last measure of the third system, that is measure 9, once again features 4 bars that are repeated between measures 9 through 12 and 13 through 16, with just a little change at the end of measure 16 to close out the 8-bar phrase. Lastly, speaking of dynamics, notice how we start with a forte, and as we move through the piece, we slowly but surely start losing volume, ending up on a mezzo forte at the top of the second page, progressing through a piano and a pianissimo, and finally, ever so gently landing on a pianissimo for our final chord. It's almost as though the music is starting close to us and progressively getting further and further away as the piece goes on. And that's really how you should probably be thinking about it. We want that effect, as though our bagpipe player is wandering down the street to play for other potential patrons or as part of a moving procession, something like that. Other than that, this is definitely one of those pieces that's easier to go over while looking at the details, so let's switch gears and get into it. Okay, so let's look again at this cut time signature. Well, basically, we're counting this piece in 2 instead of 4. So like this. Instead of like this. Now, the key thing to understand about cut time is that our tempo marking is referring to the half note beat, not to the quarter note beat. So if we were to take this piece at allegro, which is around 120 on the metronome, we'd be moving along at quite a brisk clip indeed. I'm sure you'll recall that I did not play this piece at that speed during the playthrough. It's not necessary to play this piece at that speed to get the value of it. And in fact, you should only attempt to play it at that speed once you've achieved sufficient control over all of the other elements. Until then, playing it at a slower or at most moderato speed is plenty fine, hence the inclusion of that speed next to the allegro. And that's the speed we'll be working with for this lesson. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling confident enough in how you're thinking about the time signature and tempo. We're going to move on to hand positioning. So throughout this first beginning module in the Piano Etudes course, we've been focusing a lot on hand positioning, talking about the 5-finger close position and how we reposition by crossing and all that. And in this piece, we have some nice, clear opportunities to demonstrate that. Notice this flurry of fingerings in measure 3. These are telling us about a specific point of change relating to a repositioning. So if I play this melody from the beginning, you can see there my hand is all in one position, G position, and then in measure 3, I'm going to reach over with my 2, let the rest of my fingers land on the notes of a new position, and play in what is now D position. So one more time, starting with G position to D position. And after that, I'm going to reach back up with my 3 finger to get back into G position to repeat all of that starting on measure 5. So once from the top all the way through measure 8. Thanks for watching this lesson from Liberty Park Music. If you enjoyed this lesson and learned something from it, do us a favor, hit that like button. And if you really liked it, share it around. Let your friends and family check it out too. If you want to find more lessons like this or explore other piano-related topics, please come visit us at libertyparkmusic.com. We have full piano courses ranging from beginner to more advanced levels, and everything is online and streaming 24/7 so that you can design your music learning around your schedule and learn in the comfort of your own home from a talented roster of professional teachers and musicians. Come check us out.